your position. Here, bit split, bit open. Obviously, it's brawl, and you can express your versatility. You can stay on this bus, but just time it better. Everyone has to be sort of at the same part of the map at the same time. Arguably, you don't want to be using boosters straight off the spawn as well. That's basically what I mean, because you want your boosters for when they wall. Because it's King's Row, you know that they're running a Mei. Realistically, they're probably going to be running a Mei, so you need to be aware of your Reinhardt getting walled off so you can fly up and defense matrix it. I don't know if this was fully coordinated. It's fine that you're first man in. It's fine because it forces the Mei to wall you off and potentially not the Reinhardt, which is good because obviously you as a character you can boost it out of there, whereas Reinhardt can't. So that's fine. Typically try not to use your boosters. Try not to use your boosters for no reason. That was a bit weird. Okay, this is very small micro stuff, but you knew for a fact that they had May walled, so you knew that they haven't popped it yet, right? So you knew that it was coming very soon. You need to make sure you have DM matrix, defense matrix for that, because if you don't, then your Reinhardt is screwed. You barely had defense matrix, and you're lucky that the rest of the team managed to peel. Their Mei was in a really bad position. That was a fairly big DM. If you see your McCree about to focus someone, a squishy in particular, you don't want to boost at them necessarily because you might boot them out the way of his headshot. This is good. The fact that you were the one that stayed on point and you're the one that's staying on cart is good. It means that your team, to an extent, knows what they're doing. And the team's managed to clear up without the defense matrix. I say this, it would be slightly better if your Lucio is there. But this is very viable. The fact that the Lucio is still with the Reinhardt means that they can disengage very quickly, although it does look like your Lucio is feeding a bit. You want to talk about that? Very boring. Fair enough. The fact that your Lucio stayed, you managed to get beat, which meant that you can beat that, and that's fine. We win this fight. Very boring gameplay, but you're doing your job, so I can't complain about this. Surely now we get 3 people to stack because you can push it. Pab is gonna back up. Both. That's fine. I feel like Lucio should. They're not gonna recontest anyway, so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You might as well have a couple of people more on. A couple more people on the card just so, you know, you actually get it slightly faster. We can tell from their body language that they weren't about to recontest. Don't necessarily need to fly up. Even though it was quite helpful because one was split off by the wall. Not a bad ult in terms of creating space, although the Reinhardt shield was taking a lot of damage. It was literally broke. Oh wait, no. Maybe it was the D.Va bomb that broke it. The Reinhardt shield is taking a lot of damage. You could have potentially waited until you actually fully took more damage, or the Reinhardt had the shield down for a lot longer. Just a thought. You can also coordinate things with your team. It might be pretty hard to at this rank. But like if the Kree could have gone, or the Cassidy, let's say, could have gone like slightly more aggressive in terms of tempo, he could have rolled forward even and gotten a flash on the Reinhardt, and then it would have been a better D.Va bomb. I like how you flew it against the wall as well. You can more accurately choose where you want to land it if you do that. So I've noticed that your booster is a common thing, that your booster you're using it at, like, fairly all right times, but not necessarily maximizing your efficiency, or maximizing the value that you're getting from these boosters. That was nice DM because it allowed people to get behind cover. Oh Lord have mercy. Die fast. Perfect. Good knowledge of game sense that's bound to happen during scrims. This is that pretty much confirmed that it's a scrim for me right now. That's really good game sense. Obviously, we'll be calling for that in the scrim, but in comp, it happens way too often when people just don't kill themselves at this rank. I like that. Exploiting verticality. You could have even used the boosters just to boop them off and then get back, like you just did there. Good try, good attempt. Yeah. In that situation, it's kind of unlikely for you to secure a kill on a downed enemy. You don't want to fly in again because, once again, you might actually boop him away. I actually like the most when you're popping the defense matrix over him because it meant that his Baptiste couldn't heal him. That's the most amount of burst healing they're going to receive. You need to be thinking on your toes about these sort of things. But yeah. Oh, of course it's a scrim because the teams are jumbled. It's not in the correct order. That was silly. Right, so you don't have boosters here. You have boosters in 1 second. You push up. You boost into their backline against a brawl comp. No, 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 no. Let's go over win conditions, right? Brawl is based around the team that stacks. The team that are more coordinated, the team that are more together, the team that coordinate their abilities to get the most value, the team that uses less abilities on rotation, the team that takes less damage on rotations is a team that's going to win. So by you flying into their background back line to try and focus down this Kree and the BAP, you're not an assassin. On D.Va, you're not an assassin. Your burst damage isn't enough to secure a kill, especially when they have two forms of heals next to them. um, you're not going to be able to engage. What you've done here is you've flown, you've used an ability to get into their preferred kill box. They're fighting around this corner for a reason. Brawl is really good around corners because you can hit, then step back, you're behind natural cover to an extent, and you're inviting pressure onto you. You want people to pressure you because you want to be fighting at a close range. Obviously, it's slightly different because we're both Brawl comps and we both excel at close range. There's where it comes down to like ability usage, mechanics, the plays that you make, and brief game sense. But what you've just done here is you've hard entered. Did you just cancel another fly? I think you did. Good use of window. Still stay behind window. You don't want to walk in front of window. Still stay behind window. Still stay behind window. Could have probably got an angle. Not anymore. Nice stun. You want to get that mech back as much as possible. To my knowledge, I'm like 90% sure that D.Va does not have damage drop on her bullets, which means that you could be playing far back line. You could be playing here very safely. You could be playing here very safely. Teams most frequently walk outside of this spawn door. Don't know if it's a psychological thing. Don't know if it's because it has more natural cover and it's just more natural. You could be standing here getting a nice angle on the people leaving the spawn door, remecking. It's impossible. They don't have a Symmetra. It's impossible for them to run straight past your team and onto you on the backline. So what you want to do is stand backline and get your mech up as much as possible, but also in range so that you can definitely assist the second that your mech comes back. That's what you need to be trying to do here. You definitely don't want to be standing next to a Mei that can literally one shoot you. You need a faster mech. That needed to be faster. I do appreciate that you got damage on that though. I feel like that. Nice. That DM could have been faster as well. Don't know if it's your reaction time or your reactions to make decisions, but things can be faster. I do appreciate that you pushed up the spawn when you realized that they were close, so to avoid the recontest. It's good if you do that to an extent, as long as you make sure you do it at the right times. You were able to potentially defense matrix the flash as well, so that was good. Scarfed scrim, you hate to see that. See, this, I always tell my teams to do this. It wastes a bit of time, but like I said, we're playing Mei, we're playing Kree who has decent poke, we're playing Bap who has decent poke, we're playing Lucio who has a nice amount of poke, but the thing is he has high ult charge, so it's unlikely his ult will really be affected by his poke damage unless he's doing it extremely consistently and getting those headshots. But the fact that they went inwards there, round alley, cut here, means that they're constantly out of sight, line of sight of you, and neither of you guys are getting ult charge. They went here, through alley, obviously there's no line of sight. You guys can't see them until potentially you're here, and even then you'll have to be playing at an angle, which means that you could very easily be sped onto with no possibilities of actually being split off by a wall. But yeah, that's why I like that rotation anyway. Back up, back up. You don't want a front line. You don't want a front line like your Reinhardt is front lining, because you can very easily be stunned. Your defense matrix is a highly important ability in this comp. You want to be standing just behind the Reinhardt. If you get split off, then that's fine. You fly up and you defense matrix. If you get split off with him, you could easily reposition and turn around and DM. Especially if you're on PC. I presume you're on PC. Your movement seems smooth. So yeah, you don't want to be frontlining. Definitely don't want to be popping your boosters into the team. All it means is that you're popping abilities. If you boost into the team, then you also have the defense matrix, otherwise you die. But this means that you've popped 2 of your abilities, and chances are, if you're flying straight at someone, if you're looking to deal damage, you're also going to be popping micro missiles. And that was me not looking at your abilities. If I look at your abilities now, I was right. Every single thing was used. Every single thing was used. And you don't want to be in that situation, because Brawl is won by the amount of utility a team has at one time. When I say utility, I mean ultimates and abilities like that, but yeah. Your tunnel focused on your tunnel visioning. So your tunnel visioned on dealing damage to their front line, pressuring their front line, even though that's not what you should do. What you should do is you're playing not a passive role, because Brawl is a very aggressive comp. You can be protecting. You can be the protector. You fly in only if they're pushing past your Reinhardt shield and they're going to kill your Reinhardt. And only then do you do that. The only time you should actually fly in to go for boops is when your defense matrix has run out and he's still taking like sustained amount of pressure. That was a good charge. I appreciate the fact that you're going in on this because your Reinhardt does need to be protected if he ints in like that. So that was good. Your decision making there was fine. You're putting too much focus into dealing damage. There are certain people that you never want to fly into. And funnily enough, McCree is one of them. May is one of them. And Reinhardt is one of them. Which is half of their comp. That's literally why this comp functions so well. Remember that your defense matrix doesn't need to be hovering over them. You can also be hidden around a corner and defense matrix in outwards. So as long as the DM is covering your teammates, it won't kill them. This is done by center of mass, I presume, like most things in the game. Center of mass. So if a D.Va bomb is only peeking your big toe, it won't kill you. If it's peeking your center of mass, so like your torso area, then that's when it will kill you. It doesn't need to just tap the hitbox. It needs to have like a certain amount of the hitbox hit, if that makes sense. Lost your mech for no reason, and now you have to go aggressive if not with one person down. D.Va is basically not a character. She's like half a character, because she is fairly decent. She has potential to get picks, but realistically, also don't stand still, ever. Realistically, you're on 32% now, you're going to be struggling. You have one less person down. Based on the fact that it's 3.3k scrim SR, your Reinhardt is still going to be playing in the exact same way as if he had a D.Va. Look, he's holding W. I can see these sort of things. This flank is silly, man. That was so stupid. All it meant was you have no mech for the rest of the fight. If you had a mech, if you popped a mech, you would literally be winning this fight right now. Don't get aggressive, don't get greedy. It's a team-based game. You're not trying to frag out, you're literally on D.Va. D.Va's job is not to frag out. The fact that her bullets are like shotgun spread as well means that she tags loads and loads of people. You're bound to get high kills as D.Va. Your May, nice wall. That wasn't a bad wall. I would even D.Va bomb for pressure. Like, your 66 health, you might even die. It's worth D.Va bombing it, which is probably a controversial thing to say. Some coaches would have said you lack composure if you were to D.Va bomb there, but I think it's worth. Definitely gets pressure off of you, but you did well because what you did allowed you to heal. You got no picks from it anyway, and the D.Va bomb was quite bad. You need to be trying to focus on that. The D.Va bomb was bad because it was almost upwards. It was upwards and still diagonal. But let's say even if this ledge wasn't here, probably would have hit the wall a bit and landed around here anyway. Easy to react. There's literally a doorway there. There's hella corners. They survived that anyway. You know? You're way too aggressive. And I know that it's very harsh in me saying this, but you're not a bad player. Definitely not a bad player, but the fact that I'm used to coaching people like top tier 3 players, I identify a lot of mistakes. It's probably average compared to what the rest of you are, like the rest of you guys are playing, but your ability usage needs to be more considered. So what you need to do is analyze a given situation. How can I play it safe? Remember, I always tell people this, the most important thing in Overwatch is surviving. So if you're surviving, if you're safe on D.Va and you're helping other people survive, you will win games. That is your role on D.Va. D.Va, in my opinion, is the hardest character in the game because it's very hard when to play aggressive and it's very hard when to play passively. Like I said, this is an aggressive comp, but sometimes I'm saying you're being overly aggressive. So you need to have that some sort of gauge there. Good. Oh, that's unfortunate. Good movement though. Good attempt at movement. Could have been better. but that's asking a lot because the movement there wasn't bad. Your disengagement was slightly late. Your disengagement could have been slightly earlier. If you left on 150 health or so, you left on 60. If you leave at 150 health or so, you probably survive that. What? You're demeched way too often. You get no value in a brawl comp from being baby D.Va. You also don't want to flipping walk into a window like that. You're so squishy. You need to remember that you're such a vulnerable character. You won't live. If you put yourself in a situation where you shouldn't live, you won't. This is why you need to have DM. Your defense matrix usage, a lot of the time you're using it to eat spam. Random spam. So you're making them, it means that they're getting less ult charge for poke, but you need to keep it. When you need to hold it up is when they are spamming, like what they usually do, when you usually pop it, but only do it if they're spamming and people on the front line or your main core are low. So if they're spamming and people are low, then you defense matrix your team, sort of like how you would use an immortality field on Baptiste. Other than that, significant bits of splash or burst. So we're talking about McCree stun. Try and think about when he is going to use the McCree stun, pop that. Blizzard, so the mate ult, think about when she's going to pop that and then do that. Fire Strike, think about when he's going to pop that and then do that. Baptiste heals, he's be doing that constantly, so you want to try and get an edge, you want to try and catch him out by eating stuff like that at the worst times. If you defense matrix their Reinhardt on the front line, surprisingly he gets a lot less heals, and you end up winning so many fights from that, I'll be real. Expressing verticality, not bad. The knockback isn't great on D.Va Fly. So you saw D.Va boost up here, potential to knock her back and then fly away because she won't have boosters by the time she drops. But at the same time, I don't think the knockback would have been heavy enough for that, so unlucky. That was a terrible wall from your maid. There's not even a point in going in on that. Good E. Remember your Reinhardt has a flipping shield, man. Your Reinhardt has a shield, and that shield is really important to you, even though you have a defense matrix. See, now you're tunnel visioned on a Lucio. You're not going to kill a Lucio. He has too much self heals. When your Reinhardt is taking damage on the front line, you're not going to be healed. Think about the LOS of your BAP. Your Baptiste can't see you, and he's not going to call that because he's hyper fixated onto our Reinhardt. He is not going to be even. He won't even know that you're low because priority for reflect support is always going to be the main tank, unfortunately, even though like it should really be the main support first. But yeah, you better not. People are dying, man. No, without your main tank you don't win this. Without your main tank you never win that. Save your ults. That clears point. Would be great for the recontest because it pushes people back. It creates space. They'll be taking cover. We might be able to displace them and even get picks from it. Stay on cart, don't C9. You know that the Lucio is trying to get C9. So you stay on cart. Lucio's not doing anything right now. We want him to be here. I don't think you understand. We want him to be here. And now that you get the kill on him, that's a great stagger. And it's one that looks like it's unintentional because he, for some reason, wasn't trying to die fast. Now, See, this is what confuses me. Where's the tempo? People are just standing still and swinging at nothing. I get that we don't really want to push past this corner, but we could take a fight on this corner. If we sprint at them without their Lucio, then they're gonna back up. They're gonna back up, and then we hold this corner. We don't necessarily have to do that, but there was a lot of downtime. I guess you have to use that to check ults, fight plans, stuff like that. Nothing that you really need to focus on as an off-tank player there. I like how you waited. That was perfect. Oh, nice. Focus lamp, 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 lamp. I don't know how, bro. Lamp has been in the game for like 1 million years now at this point. How do people not know to focus the lamp the second it gets put out? That's fine. You cleaned up. Like, I know it might sound like I'm saying like a lot more negative than positive, and that's not really like how I try to coach. I genuinely don't think you're a terrible D.Va player. I don't think you're a bad D.Va player even. Um, like I said, I'm just used to coaching at a very, very high tier where these micro mistakes don't really happen. So I will be saying quite a lot of negative things to the people that I'm coaching in these sessions, these upcoming sessions, because I'm coaching a lot of like lower ranked people. That wasn't terrible. Don't go aggressive on the... You're such a weird player. I feel like you always try and go aggressive for the max. You don't necessarily have to do that. It makes no sense. Don't ever run directly at a Kree either. Realistically, he'll just stun his feet and then shoot you in the head. Oh my god. Nice, great disengagement. That was perfect disengagement. You want to be going out right side with the rest of your team because there's more natural cover. Like I said, perfect. You did that perfectly because now you can stagger. That was good attempt to eat. I said you can stagger. I meant you can stall. Look, if you actually watch top 500 play, they never stand in front of a window. Never stand in front of a window. The second you see a window, that's when you have to either jump behind cart or just chill around this corner. Well, we technically, that for them, that was actually quite a really high value window because it makes things awkward for us. We need to touch cart right now. But right now, you really couldn't because you'd be a baby D.Va running in front of a window. You'll be taking a lot of damage and you will inevitably die. I don't know if they captured it. I don't know if they didn't, but VOD replay codes are very, very scuffed. I hope you learned something from that. I feel like I taught quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie. There were definitely things that can be coached, ability usage, things like that. Positioning, not so much positioning. Your positioning was fine. I like how you expressed verticality and you fought for the high grounds. Aggressing was pretty bad. You were way too aggressive. General game sense, game knowledge. I guess you had game sense, game knowledge, but it's more so you don't respect the enemy at all. You don't really consider the safest option. What you need to do is get really good at playing for the safest option, and that would allow you, once you're confident with disengages and you know that you can survive, that would allow you to play more aggressive once you're mechanically good enough to get yourself out of those situations.